artificial intelligence in tourism, promoting innovation, enhancing sustainability. I'm your host for today, Deborah Bowen Park, Deputy Director at the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism of the Republic of Korea. 안녕하십니까? 오늘 사회를 맡게 된 문화체육관광부 박동은 사무관님. 행사를 본격적으로 시작하기에 앞서 오늘 이 자리에 참석해 주신 주요 귀빈 소개가 있겠습니다. 먼저 장미란 문화체육관광부 2차관님 참석해 주셨습니다. 박수 부탁드립니다. 다음으로 김학홍 경상북도 행정부지사님 자리해 주셨습니다. 박수 부탁드립니다. 또한 송호준 경주시 부시장님 함께하고 계십니다. 네, 감사합니다. 문화체육관광부와 한국관광공사 그리고 OECD를 대신하여 바쁘신 가운데서도 이곳 현장인 경주 컨벤션 센터와 줌을 통해 온라인으로 참석해 주시는 모든 분들께 깊은 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. Now, I would like to give you a little bit of background information regarding the hosting of this forum on artificial intelligence and tourism. This forum is largely organized in line with Korea's 2025 APEC host year, which will focus on the priorities of connect, innovate, and prosper under the overarching theme of building a sustainable tomorrow. The OECD will provide support of Korea's APEC tourism priorities with a particular focus on artificial intelligence and tourism through the organization of a forum, workshop, and the development of a policy paper. As we kick off the collaboration with today's event, we aim to bring together key stakeholders from government, the tourism sector, and academia. Our focus will be to explore the opportunities and challenges posed by the diffusion of artificial intelligence in tourism, as well as the implications for businesses, destinations, and policymakers. And now, let us officially kick off this event with the welcoming remarks by Her Excellency Miran Jang, the Vice Minister of Sports and Tourism of the Republic of Korea. 장미란 제2차관님을 무대로 모셔 개회사를 듣도록 하겠습니다.
안녕하십니까. 문화체육관광부 2차관 장미란입니다. 오늘 한 OECD 관광과 AI 포럼에 참여해 주신 여러분 진심으로 환영합니다. 멀리 프랑스와 포르투갈, 또 영국, 태국, 일본, 싱가포르 등지에서 경주를 찾아주신 OECD 3국과 국제 연사분들께 특별히 더 반가운 인사를 드립니다. 오늘 이 자리는 최근 화두로 떠오르고 있는 생성형 AI 등 최신 기술이 관광 산업에 미치는 영향을 가늠하고 또 이를 활용하여 어떻게 더 나은 관광의 미래를 만들 수 있을지 논의하고자 준비된 자리입니다. 사실 얼마 전 저도 호기심에 생성형 AI에게 이런 질문을 좀 던져보았습니다. 경주의 가족 여행 코스를 추천해달라고요. 단 몇 초 만에 AI는 교통편, 또 역사 문화 유적, 또 맛집, 또 숙소를 포함한 꽤 괜찮은 경주 여행 코스를 짜주었습니다. 경주 첫날 점심으로는 토암산의 산채 정식이나 흑돼지 연탄구이를 추천을 해줬고요. 둘째 날에는 점심에 가볍게 밀면이라든지 또 맷돌 순두부 같은 음식을 먹으라고 추천해줬습니다. 부모님이랑 갔다고 하니 또 이동 동선도 최소한으로 짜주기도 했습니다. 불과 몇 년 전까지만 해도 여행사 직원이나 가이드가 있어야지만이 가능했던 일들을 놀랍게도 이제 AI가 우리가 필요할 때 실시간으로 해주는 것을 저도 경험을 해보았습니다. 놀랍기도 했지만 사실 걱정도 같이 들기도 했습니다. 이처럼 지금 우리는 지금 관광산업의 새로운 전환점에 서 있다고 생각을 하는데요. AI 기술은 관광의 모든 단계에서 혁신을 만들어내서 개개인의 여행 경험부터 관광산업의 패러다임까지 빠르게 변화시키고 있습니다. AI 기술은 여행 경험을 향상하고 또 기업의 운영 효율성을 극적으로 개선하여 지속 가능한 관광 환경에 기여할 수 있는 잠재력을 지니고 있습니다. 다만 사람보다 더 빠르고 효율적인 결과값에 걱정도 큽니다. 우리는 AI가 모든 것을 대신할 수 없다는 점도 같이 기억해야 할 것입니다. 오늘 이 행사의 포스터도 좋은 예라고 생각하는데요. 생성형 AI가 초안을 만들었지만 먼저 컨셉과 방향을 주문한 것도 마지막으로 다듬고 완성한 것도 사실은 모두 사람의 손길이었습니다. AI는 유용한 도구이지만 인간의 창의성과 판단력이 더해질 때 비로소 최상의 결과가 나오지 않나 싶습니다. 관광산업은 더 특히 그렇다고 생각을 하는데요. 여행이란 사람과 장소를 이어주고 또 사람과 사람을 연결하는 경험입니다. 그래서 관광은 결국 사람의 감성과 환대로 완성된다고 할 것입니다. 다만 정책적인 지원과 규제가 구체적으로 어떠해야 하냐는 질문에 대해서 우리는 아직 답변을 찾는 중입니다. 과연 AI가 추천한 정보는 정말 신뢰할 것인지, 또 데이터 윤리와 개인정보는 보호되는지, 또 AI 발전으로 인해 관광업계 종사자들이 받게 될 영향은 무엇인지, 또 업계에 가져다 할 기회 요인은 무엇인지, 그리고 이에 따른 정보와 민간 부문의 역할은 무엇인지, AI 기술이 가져올 파괴적 혁신을 어떻게 지속 가능하게 관리할 수 있을지 오늘 포럼에서 이 중요한 질문들을 함께 고민하고자 합니다. 한국 정부는 관광 산업에서 AI 기술이 혁신적이면서도 지속 가능한 변화를 이끌 수 있도록 국제사회와 함께 논의를 주도하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Though he is unable to join us in person, he has kindly sent us a video message. Let's take a look.
Artificial intelligence and tourism. I would like to thank Vice Minister Yang and the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism for their excellent cooperation in organizing this event. Tourism directly contributes around 4% of GDP across the OECD, but its indirect economic and social impacts are much greater, stimulating economic activity in other sectors, creating jobs, promoting regional development, and fostering connection across countries and cultures. We have seen a strong but uneven rebound in global tourism since the pandemic. However, we need to sustain that momentum, and as tourism returns, tackle the challenges it poses for people, places, and firms. Perhaps the most crucial of these is managing growing tourism demand and the pressure this puts on infrastructure, the environment, and local communities in many countries. And digital tools, including AI, may hold some of the solutions. AI is already changing the way tourists plan, book, and experience travel. In Europe, 11% of travel agencies and tour operators are already using at least one AI technologies, such as chatbots and virtual assistants. As AI use becomes more widespread, it can help compensate for labor shortages in the sector and catalyze innovation in the delivery of tourism services. AI can also promote sustainable practices by using real-time data and automated decision-making to manage the visitors' flows and improve resources allocation through route optimization and better water management, for example. But AI brings new risks that must be managed. First, AI is changing the jobs and skills needs. The OECD estimates that the arrival of AI, 27% of occupations are physical automation. This has potentially far-reaching consequences in a human-centric sector like tourism. Second, policymakers must work to strengthen cybersecurity. AI systems rely on extensive data collection and processing. This raises digital security and data protection issues, as well as privacy and ethical issues. And third, policymakers must work to avoid a widening digital divide. In particular, there is work to do to ensure small farms are not left behind. OECD data shows that large farms are 6 times more likely to adopt AI technologies the small firms, giving them a competitive advantage. Governments at all levels, we need to work closely with the private sector to help tourism businesses, workers, destinations to navigate these challenges. Yes, the OECD will support them. The OECD adopted the world's first international standard on AI in 2019, providing policymakers with guidance on AI. These principles were updated last year and are supporting the global AI agenda. And building on this wider work, the OECD is proud to have developed the G7 OECD policy paper on AI and tourism under the Italy's G7 presidency last year. The paper raises awareness of the opportunities and the challenges as AI evolves, and the implications for tourists, businesses, destinations, and governments. Today's forum will take us another step forward in our efforts to harness the power of AI to support a sustainable, inclusive future of tourism sector. And it will, I'm sure, make an important contribution as Korea hosts APEC this year under the theme, Building a Sustainable Tomorrow. Connect, innovate, prosper. So I wish you all an excellent discussion today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kamsahamnida. Hello, everybody. So a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having the OECD to join, and Vice Minister, very much a pleasure to see you again and to work very closely with Korea on organising the forum and on supporting also the APEC host year of Korea this year. It's a pleasure to be working with you, and thank you to you and your team also for the fantastic collaboration with you. And if I can say personally, it's always a pleasure to be back in Korea and to visit to Gyeongju for the first time. So very much a pleasure. So today the discussion is on this hot topic of artificial intelligence and tourism, and it falls on me to set the scene for our discussions today, building on the opening remarks that we've heard from Vice Minister Jang and also from the OECD Deputy Secretary General. So let's dive straight in. I think the starting point that we are all aware of, and the reason we're here today, is how AI is rapidly developing and changing many aspects of our lives and the tourism economy. And the Vice Minister talked about this being a tipping point for the tourism sector. I think that really is the case. It's perhaps useful to recall what AI is, how it works, and why the intense recent focus on something which has been around for a long time. So at the OECD, AI is defined as a machine-based system that infers from the input it receives how to generate outputs, such as predictions, content, recommendations, or decisions that can influence physical or virtual environments. It is, in other words, a mix of technologies that together are capable of tasks that typically require human-like intelligence. AI systems process vast amounts of data to identify patterns, to make predictions. The more data, the better, and perhaps more importantly, the more relevant and the higher quality the data, the better the outputs. We're all familiar with the term trash in, trash out. It applies very much in the AI context. And what we've experienced in the last few years has been a significant shift in the speed with which Gen AI in particular is evolving. And it's in this context that the OECD is supporting governments to shape safe, secure and trustworthy use of AI, as the Deputy Secretary General mentioned. The OECD adopted the world's first international standard on AI in 2019, and these principles, which were updated last year to reflect the rapid technological developments, these principles emphasize values such as inclusiveness, fairness, transparency, accountability and respect for human rights. The principles are highly relevant for tourism, and the work that the OECD Tourism Committee is bringing a sectoral focus to these discussions. This work on AI and tourism started at the OECD last year when we developed the paper on the topic, which was endorsed by G7 tourism ministers in November under Italy's G7 presidency. The paper showcases examples of how AI is being used already in the sector, as well as ways it could be used in the future. It discusses the opportunities, the risks that AI brings, and explores what it means for the different stakeholders in the tourism ecosystem: policymakers, businesses, destinations, tourists themselves. And we heard the experience from the Vice Minister as a tourist using AI. So today's forum is building on this work that has been done so far, and under the leadership of Korea and in the frame of Korea's APEC post-year. The intention today is to explore in more detail the issues that have been raised and what this means for businesses, for destinations, and for policymakers in particular. So as we will hear today, AI is emerging as a transformative force in the tourism sector and as a powerful catalyst for innovation to help address also the challenges, the wider challenges that the sector faces, whether that is the challenge to better manage visitor flows, to reduce the sector's impact on the environment, ensuring tourism benefits reach local communities, while also building a competitive, dynamic tourism economy that drives economic development. But as the DSG mentioned, AI also brings risks and magnifies existing challenges, with implications for tourists, workers, businesses and destinations which are looking to make the most of this technology. So let me highlight some of these applications and opportunities before then discussing in a little bit more detail some of the risks. So AI is changing the way tourists plan, book, experience travel, and offers significant potential to improve business intelligence through the use of data analytics, to enhance the visitor experience, to reach new customers with more personalized travel experiences and products, to improve operational efficiency in businesses by automating business processes, for example, and enhancing service delivery. And AI can help to accelerate the transition to the greener, more sustainable and inclusive business models by supporting strategic tourism planning and decision making, by promoting sustainable practices, and also by helping to optimize resource allocation and visitor flow management. Perhaps to consider some of these opportunities in a little bit more detail, if we look at the business situation for businesses, AI offers the potential to optimize the operations, to particularly routine tasks, to develop new solutions also for tourism businesses from the automation of administrative tasks. TUI, for example, has been developing AI training for its employees, which in turn is supporting these employees to actually use AI tools in their daily tasks. And this upskilling, this training, this building of capacity within the sector is also an important dimension. AI is also being used to unlock new capabilities for strategic planning, evidence-based decision-making, and the development of new tourism practices and destination management solutions. If we look to Japan, for example, AI is being used to analyse large amounts of traveller and consumption data to inform the development of destination improvement plans and address some of the challenges that those destinations are facing. So these are two examples. Today we have a fantastic lineup of speakers. We're going to be hearing a lot more examples, and for those of you in the room and connected online, we also encourage you to share what you are doing in the discussions. While AI offers significant potential, the extent to which it will ultimately transform our lives and tourism remains uncertain. But the uses and impacts are becoming increasingly tangible. Available evidence indicates that AI adoption rates across different parts of the tourism economy vary. So if we look, for example, to data from Europe, there's very limited data available, but data from Europe shows that travel agencies, tour operators are the most rapid adopters, with 11% using at least one AI technology, chatbots, virtual assistants, as the Deputy Secretary General mentioned. But this figure drops to 4% in the accommodation and food services sector. So we see a lot of variability across the tourism ecosystem. The purpose or the use of AI also varies in different parts of the sector and compared with other sectors. So marketing and sales are the first functions for which AI businesses are using AI, followed by business administration, and travel agencies and tour operators are again most likely to use AI, particularly for research and development. So interested to hear during the course of the discussions today if this reflects the situation here in Korea and in your countries also. OECD data also points to an emerging digital divide, as in general 8% of enterprises used AI in OECD countries in 2023, and large enterprises were significantly more likely to use AI, 29% of large businesses. This data is not specific to tourism, but addressing this divide will be important to give SMEs in the tourism sector opportunities to access the benefits of AI. And this is one of the risks with AI. Slow and uneven diffusion risks widening this digital divide, particularly for small tourism businesses, which we know represent the vast majority of businesses in the tourism sector. AI is also changing jobs and skills needs. As the Deputy Secretary General mentioned, the OECD estimates that in general, 27% of occupations are at risk of automation from AI. And this varies significantly across regions, with a clear urban-rural divide emerging. So jobs in urban areas are more likely to be impacted by AI than jobs in rural areas. Go back. Tourism jobs will also be impacted, and this poses a risk for job displacement, while workers require new skills also to use these digital tools. And this has potentially far-reaching consequences in a human-centric and a place-based sector like tourism. And as the Vice Minister said in her opening remarks, AI cannot do everything. The human touch remains important, so we have a high-tech, high-touch environment, and how this will evolve in the coming years will be extremely important. Another risk is that AI systems rely on extensive data collection and processing, and this raises digital security and data protection issues, as well as privacy and ethical issues, to avoid, for example, the manipulation of online reviews, misinformation from chatbots, so-called hallucinations, which I'm sure we've all heard of, from poor quality data, and possible increased discrimination of certain groups through the application of AI. There's also a need to train AI systems and algorithms to avoid, for example, that AI recommendation systems only promote already popular destinations and attractions, and increase pressure on these sites and surrounding communities. And finally, the environmental impacts of AI's high energy use are also significant and growing as AI becomes more widespread. So while AI can help optimize resource use within the sector, it also brings sustainability challenges. All of this to say that AI opens up many opportunities for shaping the future of tourism, but it also brings risks which need to be managed, and this has implications for all stakeholders within the sector. And that brings us back to our discussion today. First, robust measures are needed to protect data and to keep tourists and workers safe from unethical AI use. Second, the impact of AI on tourism jobs will need to be monitored to protect and prepare workers with the skills that they will need in the future. Third, tourism businesses are likely to need support to keep pace with rapid AI developments. And as AI matures, the regulatory environment for AI will evolve. And it will be important that tourism policymakers, but also other tourism stakeholders more broadly, actively monitor and engage with these developments. Tourism businesses of all sizes, but SMEs in particular, are likely to need guidance and support to navigate these evolving regulations and to comply with these measures also. And finally, policymakers will need to understand the opportunities, the risks, the barriers, in order to promote a dynamic innovation environment for our tourism businesses. So this is a very brief overview to set the scene. We'll hear more from our great lineup of speakers about concrete use cases, experiences, learnings from how businesses, destinations are already embracing AI, about the progress they are seeing with AI adoption in the sector, and about the shifts to more active use of AI as of AI tools as these become more accessible and mind shifts within the sector shift towards the use of AI. These are discussions that will continue as AI continues to evolve, and it's important, as the Deputy Secretary General mentioned, that the public and the private sectors work closely together as the uses and impacts of AI in tourism become more tangible. The discussions today are organised around 3 main sessions. Session 1 will focus on the potential of AI for different types of tourism businesses across the tourism sector and for different business functions. Session 2 will focus on incorporating AI into the strategic development and management of tourism destinations and to promote sustainable business models. And Session 3 will draw together the strands from these 2 sessions to consider how to encourage the diffusion and adoption of AI technologies in tourism while managing the associated risks. I look forward to the discussions today, and again I encourage you to be active in the discussions through the Q&A function for the colleagues who are joining online from around the world, and in the room we will have a roving mic. And with that, I thank you very much and hand back to the Master of Ceremonies, Deborah.
Thank you, Jane, for providing us with valuable insights as we embark on today's journey. Please look at the camera, smile.
하나, 둘, 셋.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile.